Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am excited, honestly speaking. I am super excited for this evening. So I want you to get excited like I am, okay? So, like I said to you guys last night, we are having a tremendous guest that is ready to blow the house. Oh my goodness. Trust me, if you're not ready, if you're not prepared for this evening, you better come prepared. I'm going to tell you that because tonight is going to be loaded. It's going to be loaded. So, I've said to you guys, I'm not going to be taking much of our time. So I'm excited about the person that is coming. So you guys just, you know, you're going to help me welcome our special guest tonight, the founder of the Voice of the Watchman Ministry, aka Rema for Living Assembly in Ontario, Canada. And you know what? That's not just about it. He is a writer, a public speaker, an entrepreneur, a leadership expert, a national transformation consultant, and not just that, to top it up, the author of 12 books. So can you imagine, like a fully loaded, the one and only Dr. Ayo Akerele. Help me welcome him tonight in our midst. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm so
How you
glad to be here.
doing?
I'm very well. Thank you so much. Uh,
Beautiful.
Thank you for the privilege for bringing me on your platform, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You are very welcome and thank you for coming on the show. We also appreciate it. I must be honest with you. So now, Pastor Hayo, Dr. Hayo, sorry to say, I
All of
think
the
I
above.
love the P better than the D.
All of the above.
All right. So Dr. Hayo, all right. So before we get into what we want to talk about tonight, I would just like you to tell us a little bit about you. What is behind that name itself? What is the Superman? Like who is the Superman behind it? Please tell us a little bit about you.
Well, you have my bio, and I know you have read through and you have seen quite some stuff there. I'm a pastor, and my primary assignment, my primary calling is in ministry, in preaching the gospel. But however, I'm also a trained professional. I'm a consultant as well. And so I'm going to start this conversation by attributing everything you are saying and the person standing or sitting before you today to the grace of God. So it's been a long journey, and the personality sitting in front of you today is a product of grace. And I'm a God-fearing person. I'm married with children, and I have a very strong passion for helping people, for speaking and teaching the truth, and for the next generation. I am a transgenerational thinker. I think to the third and fourth generation. So most of my works and my teachings and our ministry and all the virtues and values that God has endowed me with, they are all pursuing this same one goal: to reveal God to humanity, to help the younger generation to avoid some of the mistakes that we have made, and to bring glory to God at the end of the day. So that's just like a summary. When we get into the details of what God has been doing through us over the years, then shed more light uh, on all of them. So I hope my answers have actually uh, shed some light, some little lights to your
Wow.
question.
Thank you. Well, it did. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. But that's a lot. Oh my goodness. So, like you said, we're going to be digging in. So don't worry. Just relax.
I'm well prepared for you today. So
All right. I like that. That's the energy that I like. All right. So, Dr. Hayo, I want you to tell us this evening. I know you've mentioned like so many things that you're into, that you're doing, but I want you to just tell us that, having all these professions that you do. So how do you manage all together?
well, to start with, every man on earth has a measure of grace, a measure of skills and competencies that have been deposited into them before they were born to the world. So it's a responsibility to develop these things through education, through exposure, networking, and above all, because of my own personality and my own calling, the grace of God. So there are people who have assignments towards a single sphere of influence. There are people who have assignments into multiple spheres of influences. So, and by the grace of God, I have assignment into multiple spheres of influences. Primarily, my assignment is to the church as a preacher of the gospel, but I'm also equipped with capacities and skills by the grace of God to function in multiple spheres, leadership, consulting, and in many other areas. So when you have the gifts and the capacity to do those things, you can't contain them. So I do these things effortlessly. I mean, when I write books, when I write and I speak, and people ask me questions, how do you do 10 things at the same time? It's the grace of God. So those gifts were latent in me. I mean, but through education, the more you study, the more you. I mean, I worked as a consultant for a diamond mining company many years back, and if you do not know the origin of diamond, you just go to a store in Oxford Street in London, and then you pick a diamond and you see, wow, 20 carat or whatever. Now, that diamond has passed through a process. The original raw material, okay, so to speak, is like a ore, O-R-E, like a mud. So we pack those mods in large quantities and pass them through several processes. At the end of the day, you see the crystal clear diamond coming out of something that was very raw at the beginning. So everyone has a raw deposit of skills, of competencies. So through education over the years, those things begin to manifest and then you find your place. So that's exactly how my path has been formed. Those gifts were planted in me by God. And then I trained myself by the grace of God. I went to school and then they began to come out. And then I began to find myself in different areas of life where God has been using us to make impact.
Wow, I think that's quite amazing. Do you know that? Because reason is there are many people that have so much gift in them, but yet they're not able to identify. Some can't even identify one. So, and you having all these multiple gifts inside of you, and you are able to identify each one, know each one. I think that's phenomenal. But I'm sure that, I have people on here, that will actually even like to learn from you, how to actually even discover. Because I'm wondering right now, I'm like, okay, aside from the education, how did you discover those gifts inside of you? And then you end up putting them to work and they're working for you.
Thank you very much. That's a very, very important question. I've had many people ask me the same questions over and over again. One of the things that God has put in every man on earth is our gifts and talents, natural gift and talent. So
Yes.
one of the pointers to your core area of influence in life are your gifts. Everyone has a gift. No one is empty. Even people that are not even religious, who are atheists, they have gifts. But every man has something in him. So some can write, some can speak, some are friendly. Anywhere they find themselves, they are very amiable, they are charismatic. Some have a natural tendency to love people, to care for people. They just want to solve problems. Now, these are the pointers to where you function in life. Now, for me, right from when I was very young, age 6, age 7, I loved writing. So my mom would plan a visit to a family member who would be my uncle at that time. And I would pen a letter to that uncle. When they read the letter, they ask my mom, who wrote this letter? They said, my son says, not possible. And I began to write. I began to write. I would write letters and post those letters. In those days in Africa, you go to the post office and buy a stamp and send the letter to a particular school, a particular agency in America. It could take 3 months, 6 months to get there. I was just enjoying it. So the more I wrote, the more my gift was developed. Because when you keep practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing, practice makes perfect. Now,
Absolutely.
that is just one the dimension of the whole game. Now, there is a connection between gift and passion. Where you have passion, there will be a gift to complement it. Where you have gift, there will be passion. Now, I don't have passion for many things, but the few things I have passion for, I have gifts to complement them. Now, you see a footballer, a young boy who can play football, who loves playing football. The parent will be warning this boy, don't go out. Typical African parents. Oh, face your studies. All your mates are going to become doctors. This boy will still snake out of the house. What is that? Passion. He has gift, but there is passion. So look at where your passion is. What makes you passionate? What wakes you up in the middle of the night? Many a times we overlook those areas, no, because of the way society has carved out a kind of a worldview. Everybody's going towards a particular stereotyped area: medical doctor, medicine, engineering or engineer. I must be an engineer, I must be a doctor. But there are thousands of things that you can do. It is because you do not pay attention to those small, small gifts. I began to write letter, and the thing began to grow, began to grow. I got to secondary school. I would write exams. I would be the first to finish in class. Exams that would take 3 hours, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I was done. And my friends were wondering, what's going on here? Did someone assist you to write the exam? No. So I had speed and I had accuracy. I was very fast, and then began to grow from secondary school. I got to university, and then it exploded. So my advice to people who are stuck at discovering where they are good is to pay attention to your gift and your area of passion. You have been designed and packaged for something. That passion will be driving you towards that thing. You just want to read. There are people who love writing novels. They love prepare and those things. And then, well, probably because of some of the economic crisis we have back home when we were growing up. I mean, many parents from African descent, they water down those passion from people and they push them out. So people lose focus of their passion. But thank God for my parents and people that were around me. I had a very good environment, and it was not easy. I'm going to get into details. I believe you have many questions for me. It wasn't easy, but by the grace of God, I forged through. Today, it's a totally different. I have written. I was a consultant writer for a British company for like 7 years, and I wrote about 1,300 manuscripts for them, like articles. When they valued those articles, they were valued at 500 books. If those manuscripts were turned to books, there would be 500 books. And it was as though I didn't write anything, because the gift was just pouring out, pouring out. So everyone has a value, everyone has a gift. So you don't trivialize your gift, you dignify it. That little thing you think is not good, by the time you see what other people are doing with that little gift around the world, you'll be surprised, because they dignified it, they polished it, and they paid attention to it. Thank you very much.
Wow. 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 I like, that is amazing. And I totally agree with you because looking at where we came from, I know that there are a lot of gift in people that has been buried, based on the exposure of the parents,
Yes.
how to what they know and to what extent, right? So and I'm glad to the way you push through and you were able to to still get up and still do something. I think that's phenomenal. And I also agree with there's actually one that you talked about which I love a lot, when you said the gift plus the passion and the passion with the gift, they work hand in hand like that. I think those are beautiful, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I appreciate that. So I actually want to ask you right now. So but before I go further, please, everyone who is watching, who is live with us right now, we're gonna be taking some questions in between. So please, if you can drop your questions, start thinking, listen to whatever is saying that you might want to ask, please drop your questions, and then we're gonna be taking them in between. Okay, so I just want to push that to you guys first. Okay, all right. So coming back, all right. So coming back now, being like with all those race and all that, as a pastor, so how did you know that the pastor like is the major one out of all the gifts that you had?
Now you're pushing me into discussing spiritual matters
I
because that
think
that
that's a little bit fair enough.
yeah, but that one is my natural habitat, and by the time I begin to speak now, you will be forced to stop me. So the call to pastoring or to ministry, it's a spiritual thing, and it's not something that is physical. I never wanted anything to do with preaching. I was a trained engineer, and I'd worked with some of the biggest companies in the world. So I loved what I was doing. I just wanted to be a faithful child of God and then help people, give to people. But I mean, God has his own mysterious ways of doing things. I've had a very strong upbringing in the Lord. I mean, I gave my life to Christ about 40 years ago. That was 1984, and I was a very young boy. And God passed me through a lot of people who mentored me. So most of the things that young people did, I didn't do them. I wanted to do them, but I couldn't do them because the environment that God put around me shaped me and helped me to avoid those things. All through university days, you will not find me inside a club. You won't find me with a girl. You won't find me. So, because I met the Lord at a very young boy, and at a time, my flesh was crying out for those things. But a particular force that was bigger than me was pulling me back. I never knew God was preserving me for what I would do today, because the kind of ministry God has given me is to call people to righteousness, is to speak to nations, to speak to leaders. And you can't do that kind of ministry if you have been compromised. It's going to make it very difficult. So we're living in a world now where it's just only one click for people's profile to be discovered. People just push your name into Google. Everything you have done comes up. And so the calling part of it began to crystallize when I was in Europe. So I went to do an MBA in a top university in Europe. And along the line, I've been having a very strong body on my heart to spend time in church. And I was one of the prayer band leaders in the church. I just loved God. I loved God. I will spend the life I'm living today as a pastor is the same life I was living before I was a pastor. I woke up in the morning, I will pray, I will study the scripture. I was working in a company. My parents, when I was very young, I was a teenager, they would knock the door of my room to drag me out because I would stay there praying and studying the Bible. Say, are you a pastor? So the love was there. It was the seed that God planted in me. Because when God calls a man, there will be a seed that will be like a sign on you. You will not know, you may not know. So, but it took many years of preparation. So I belonged to many churches. I served in many churches. I was in the choir. I was in the prayer band department. I was in evangelism. And I never had any passion for it until I got to the UK. And then God began to speak to me. I mean, you will have a burden on your heart. The voice of God is not audible. I mean, it's not like you heard your voice, your name. Oh, arise, my son. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes it happens for some people, but that is not how it happens. So when you have dedicated your life to God and you have spent a lot of time praying and studying the Bible for many years, there is a way your heart is attuned to the voice of God. It's a spiritual thing, you will know. And then a burden comes on you, and then you begin to see signs, which is where I'm going now. So I'll be given opportunity to speak in churches, to lead prayer for 5 minutes. The place will just explode. They will invite me to be part of a meeting, just to come and collect offering in the church. I will just say something, everybody will be screaming. I said, what's going on here? And so God began to show me signs. I was dream and find myself in front of thousands of people preaching. And so it was gradual until a particular time came. It just exploded. And then you begin to see results. You begin to see that when you're speaking to people, they are being blessed, their lives are changing. And then God began to speak to me personally through other means. And so it took a long period of time. It wasn't something I just jumped into, because to be working and to be pursuing an academic career up to doctorate degree level, and then to be working in a mining company, work with banks. I was targeting working with ExxonMobil or Chevron, and to abandon those things actively and go and be preaching the gospel. You must be called by God to do it. So I wasn't a layabout. I wasn't someone who was jobless. And so I had my own plan and agenda, but God interrupted it like he always does anyway. So that's where the calling, the preaching and ministry part of the thing came. And the ministry is not just the preaching of the gospel alone. I have a dual ministry. I have a dual assignment. I have a dual assignment into the secular world on leadership, to speak to leaders, to raise leaders, to mentor young people, to teach value systems, and I have a core spiritual assignment to preach the Bible. So there is a dual assignment, and I'm functioning in both assignments by the grace of God, at least to the best of my ability as of today.
Wow. Beautiful. Speaking of which, when you mention leadership, I know that like people always have this concern, sometimes they are under a leadership and there's so much more inside of them that, they are actually even called to be a leader, So having a young person, or what would you say to a young person who is under a wrong leadership? Because it happens a lot. Sometimes it can be in the church, like, you have an incredible gift inside of you and you're not sure of how it's going to manifest, right? And then the leadership you're under is actually not helping you to get there, or you can't grow beyond the person who is in front of you, who is leading you. What would you say?
It's a very important question you have asked, because there are a lot of people, even those that I have met personally or that I have counseled, who have been in this condition. Now, the first thing I tell those people is to avoid rebellion. You must not rebel against that person. You mustn't rebel. To rebel means to fight that person, to attack the plans of that particular person. It could be a pastor, it could be your boss. Make sure you do not rebel. Once the seed of rebellion is planted, it messes up everything. And number two, there are many times that someone's path to the top of leadership has to go through a wrong leadership so that he can learn how not to be a bad leader.
That's an amazing one. Okay, that's a good one.
And an example of this is a man, for those who are believers, who are Christians, called David and Saul. As at the time that Saul had been rejected by God, David was aware. The Bible says that the Spirit of God left Saul, and an evil spirit from God came upon Saul. Yet, David was mentored by Saul. David served under Saul. He knew that this man had been rejected. He was an evil leader, was a bad leader, was rebellious. Yet David never fought Saul. David never attacked Saul. When he had opportunity to kill Saul, he avoided it. Even when he caught the clothes of Saul, the Bible says his heart smote him. He said, what did I do? And this principle can be replicated in any environment, any business environment. So there are certain things that we need to learn from a good leader, and we need to learn from a bad leader. If you are always under good people, good people, good people, oh, you may not learn a lot. There are certain people that teach you how not to be like them. And destiny may actually position you to serve under them. Learn all that you will learn, but have an exit strategy. Exit strategy. And that strategy must be done with wisdom. I've spoken to a lot of people who will come to me, oh, by next Monday, I'm going to walk into his office. I said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Make sure you have an exit strategy. And what works for one may not work for another. There are many opportunities that will present themselves to you that will help you to understand the timing of when you should leave. So if I'm counseling someone that has this problem now, I will be able to understand the particular dynamics of the situation and can tell him, okay, do this, but make sure you're not rebellious. Make sure you have a learning and an attitude to learn from that person while you are avoiding the evil things he's doing, and have an exit strategy and keep working on yourself. A time is coming when you will develop. I've been there myself. Now, I was in a church many years back where if they asked me to speak for 5 minutes, the whole place would just be on fire. And the pastor of the church began to feel uncomfortable. I mean, he's a very good man, but there are people who cannot actually accommodate the influence of other people that are coming behind them. There are some leaders, there is this thing we call crab technology. If you put 5 crabs inside a bowl, now when one of the crab is trying to climb out, the other 4 will drag him down. So this leader began to get uncomfortable. And by the grace of God, the influence of God in my life began to grow. My teachings and messages were going viral in the church. Young people were gravitating towards me. And I never at one point picked my phone, called someone in the church to spread gossip about the man. I loved him. I served him. I never fought him one day, but I was waiting for the right time. And I was praying. I was waiting. I was waiting. I was waiting. I was waiting. And one day he traveled out of our country to another country. And he was away for a long time. I said, yes, this is my time. And I went to meet the wife of this person. And I told the wife that this is what God has been telling me to do. The wife was surprised. And they were, I'm very happy for you. God has been using you among us. We can't stop you. I never discussed anything negatively about the husband. And I left before the man came. When the man came, and I went to him again to tell him how much God has used him to help me. And I managed that circumstances very well. Today, we are best of friends. So it depends on the environment where you are, depends on your circumstances, but please do not rebel. Do not build the platform of gossip. Do not say, I'm going to destroy this office. I'm going to destroy this business. This man is a bad leader. No, there is a reason why you are around a bad leader. David needed a sword to get across to Goliath. David couldn't have killed Goliath without the influence of Saul, even though Saul was a bad leader.
Wow. Good. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. So actually I have a being when it comes to your home personal journey, how did you deal with the time that you were thinking that, or maybe I should ask it this way, like during those times, before you get to the person that you had today, or to where you had today, have you had a time that you thought to yourself that, even though these are gifts that are all inside of me, but should I quit? Should I give up? And then how did you use those power of resilience? How did you use it? How were they beneficial for you?
Brilliant question. I have been expecting this question. I have had a very, 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 very rough and very tough life. I mean, very tough life. So you can't find anyone who is doing anything significant who hasn't had challenges. Challenges are the food of champions.
Yeah.
Challenges are the food of champions. So the trajectory of my life since inception, since I've been born up until today. Now, a champion, there are people, they are world champions for a season. When someone who is better than them comes, they lose the championship. Now, for you to remain relevant, you must continue to fight, win, and then go up. You fight,
Yes.
you win, you go up. As
Yes.
at today, as of today, I am still battling challenges, oppositions, and that is something that everybody that desires to get to the top must be ready to face. I have had periods of my life where there was no support. Now, I went to school in Europe, and I went to Europe to study for a master's program. I landed in Gatwick Airport with 200 pounds, and I was studying an MBA program As at that time, it cost £14,000. That master's program became the bridge on through which many things that are working in my life now today were connected. If I had quitted at that time, if I had quit at that time, I would never, most unlikely, will I be where I am today. So I was at a crossroad. Should I quit this program? I don't have tuition fee. If in the UK at that time, just like they're doing now, even though things have become much more difficult, once you study after your program, you're going to get a work visa, work permit, work visa. So my stay in the UK was also connected to completing that program. So I had a double double jeopardy, double tragedy. If I quit the program, the study permit, the student visa I was holding will run out. I'll be out of status. I'll be in crisis in terms of immigration. If I don't continue, I won't get a work permit. If I don't get a work permit, my life in that country will stall. But here is where the power of consistency, the power of passion and determination, and above all, the grace of God comes. It was very tough. Personally, I was a Christian. I was a child of God. So I went to pray. I prayed about it. And then I had a few good people around me, which is also something else I want to drop for our viewers today. When you are going through crisis and problems, the people that surround you matter. The people that surround you matter. Relationships matter. Bad relationships impede progress. Good relationships promote progress. So I had a few people around me who encouraged me, say, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And I wasn't just praying, I was working. I would go to the finance office of the school. I would plead with them. I would plead with them. Oh, give me more time. Oh, let me pay in installments. Oh, let me find a job. I was working and I was pushing. I was working, I was pushing. And I was working, and as I was pushing, time was going. I was attending lecture, and I made sure that I was passing my courses. Now, look at where all these things fit together. If you don't have money to pay tuition fees and then you are failing your courses, you are in trouble. So I was passing. I was passing. I was passing. I was pushing. I was pleading. I was praying. It's like a multiple, no, there is a padlock, a lock we use in Africa. Maybe we use it, in the Western world, I'm not sure. We call it multiple combination lock padlock. So a padlock that requires 4 numbers to open them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you get 1, 2, 3 correct and you miss number 4, it will not open. So to pull through that period, because I had opportunity to pull out, I was thinking, should I abandon my program? Should I quit? If I had quit, I wouldn't be where I am today. So it wasn't just praying alone. As I was praying, I was determined I must finish. As I was determined, I made sure I was successful in my courses. I was passing my exams. As I was passing my exams, I was pushing, talking to the people I hold money, the university finance department. I was pushing. So those 4 factors were playing: the prayer, the determination, the pushing, the success in my school. I was pushing. At the end of the day, I pushed through. And I graduated from that school. It was that qualification that I used to apply for my sort of green card program that brought me to this country. It was the same qualification I used to bring my wife from Africa to Europe. It was the same one. If I tell you the things that are connected to that. So I've been at a lot of junctions in my life that I felt like pulling back. And another example was when I was doing my doctorate program, which is actually connected to my writing and publishing ministry. The research experience, the training that you get when you pass through a doctorate program is out of this world. You will be trained and equipped about how to write articles, papers. Now, I also had issue with finance. And I also had one very serious issue with my supervisor. I did a project that was supervised by 2 universities, one in Canada, one in Britain. So there were 2 professors that were on my case. It was a very tough research work. And I made a blunder. And the professor who was supervising my research says, I cannot continue. And in fact, he said he was going to report me to the university. This man was the best in his field in this country. The best. He said he was going to report me. So I was at another crossroad. If he reports me to the school, they will terminate my program. All the money I paid will be lost. If I didn't get that doctorate degree, a lot of the things I'm doing today, I will not do them. And then I began to pray. I began to speak. I began to appeal to him. I called the man. I negotiated, apologized. So look at every phase of life comes with challenges. At the end of the day, God favored me. The man accepted my apology, and then he admitted me back into the program. And today I've finished. So if you're listening to me here today and you are dancing around quitting, winners never quit. Quitters never win. That is something you must always remember. All the people you are seeing at the top today, behind their glory, there is a story.
Yes, yes, that is 100%. That is 100% true. Your consistency in everything and in all the story that you've shared is amazing. And like you said, we have to keep on, we have to keep pushing, we have to, we can't give up. We can't even afford to give up. And that's just an example of what you just showed right now, in what you've shared with us. So thank you. And, I love that consistency. Honestly speaking, I love it. I love it so much. All right. So now we're going to be taking questions from the audience. So I'm going to be reading few out. There are a bunch of questions over here. So we won't be able to go through everything because of our time. So I'll probably just pick few of it and then I'll let you just, give them the juice. All right. So there's one that says, what skills do you possess to face the challenges of life to attain the position you have right now?
That's a very, very, very beautiful question, and it's also very broad. So many skills. You need professional skills. So I don't know the career you're pursuing. The world is riding on the wings of AI now. I mean, the world is running not just marathon. So you need to be kept abreast of what is going on. You need to be up to date. So professionally, you must not be found wanting. You need social skills. That one is major. Now I tell people that are always social media, warriors. Someone makes a post and then you're offended, quickly put your finger on the keyboard and then you lash back at that person. You don't you don't know the person you're talking to. And a lot of embassies now, the US embassy, British embassy, American embassy, they look at people's social media pages when they are processing their visa application. Many people don't know. So when you receive a refusal letter, you won't know what they won't write it there. They won't tell you because of your last week's post. They are using those contents to gauge your social skills. Are you tolerant? Are you friendly? Social skills top the first three skills that recruiters are looking for. Warren Buffett was asked a question. What are the top three things you look out for in people you want to hire? Warren Buffett said, I look out for intelligence. I look out for energy. I look out for integrity. If they have the first two and they don't have the last, they will kill you. In other words, if they have intelligence, they have energy, they don't have integrity, they will kill you. So you need social skills, and integrity and social skills are connected. Your ability to be loved by people, to do right things, to network, to be kind-hearted. So I don't want to major so much on professional skills. We have people who have all the masters and PhDs of this world, and when they find themselves in an environment, they scatter the environment. They are very acidic, and so the world has gone beyond that level now. Brandishing masters and PhDs now may not help matter. So I want to encourage people focus on professional skills, social skills, and those two skills will greatly help you. And by the grace of God, I have some of those skills. I have professional skills, I have social skills, and we're all growing. And I'm still learning myself. But the place you are today is actually the product of what you did yesterday.
Wow. I hope that helps the person and then other people as well too. Honestly, you've been very, very inspiring to me. I'll be honest with you. I love the way, like, the energy as well too that you put in everything that you see, the smile, everything. I think you are amazing. So
Thank you so
keep
much.
doing the work. All right. So we're gonna go to the next question. So someone said here, for a young kid who seems to have two or more identical I am identical talent. How should they manage one or both of the talents, especially when they are confused on which one the gift is exactly?
Yeah, I mean, that can happen, I mean, many situations. Sometimes one of those talents will be more visible. Someone who can sing very well, someone who can write, someone who is very nice and kind. So someone who is nice and kind will function in the hospitality business. You know, someone who can write will be probably a publisher, an author, or a researcher. Someone who can sing will be a musician. Now, if you put those three skills on the scale, the musician has more followership, has more social acceptance because music is very emotional. You will draw more crowd to yourself. So, but in each of these three areas, one of them will be easy to start. So start with the one that is the easiest. Start with the one you have resources for now. Don't wait until you are able to polish all of them to the highest level of quality. Start from the one, no matter the stage you are now. There will be one that you have the ability and the resources to start. Maybe you're in a church or you're somewhere. Oh, join the choir and be singing. Just be doing it. Or you're working for your boss. You can't be singing in the office, but you can write. Now, help the boss to write out all the memo. Make sure you dot all the I's and cross all the T's and put excellence on it. One day, the most dominant of those gifts will show you forth, no matter what. One day, it will show you forth. So, even if you have 100 gifts, there will be one of them that will be visible. And by the time you begin to work on them and you are diligent, with diligence, with excellence, with resilience, one of them will come up. And when one of them jumps out, you will have the capacity over time to bring along the other ones, which is how life functions. And I hope this helps someone who has asked that question.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So coming back to me. All right. So coming back to me, I have a quick question for you. So I know that like you're a consultant when it comes to immigration. So I just want to ask, so a young person who is coming into the country, who is coming to Canada, for example, what do you think they should be looking forward to, especially like when they have, like, let's say, for example, the person have a lawyer degree in Nigeria, or like probably have some certain education that the belief could actually help them over here. So what would you say to the youth? Because sometimes some of them, like, they get discouraged once they are here because it's not exactly what they expect. So what would you say to them?
This is a giant elephant you have brought into the room. It's a major session. It will take us 1 or 2 hours to run through these, and I've had experiences with hundreds of people all across the globe in this particular field. And well, you've got to be flexible. So flexibility is number one. What you study back home sometimes may not align with the reality of the job market in the Western world. Britain, America, Canada, Australia, all the Western world have their own model. They have their own career structure. So we have a lot of our people. Oh, I studied Greek engineering, Greek economics, and they come in, they can't find job because the country, the job market is structured in a way that there are certain career. They won't tell you some of these things. I mean, there is systemic racism everywhere in the world. They won't make it very public. Some of these areas are reserved for people from a particular part of the world. So when you apply for jobs, they won't give you a job. They don't want to commit the agricultural sector into the hands of foreigners, but they won't say that to you. They won't say
Mhm.
it to you. So
Yeah.
they have sectors that they are very, very relaxed and very friendly with, and they're very open-minded. Tech industry, medicine, medical sciences. So what we tell people is that be flexible. What do you want? Some of them are coming in with the expectation of making money immediately. No, you can't make money immediately from this field. You've got to study, go to school. So go and study a 1 year course, or go and do a bridging program, or go and get a certification, go and do a certification exam, so that you can brush up your skill, and then you can close the skills gap. There are some people who already work with multinational companies in their country. They can come in and find jobs immediately. But there are some career paths that are very, very restricted: medicine, law, pharmacy, dentistry. You will go to the beginning of the ladder and start recertifying yourself. It could take you 3, 4 years. So, but a lot of our people know the rush, the mad rush into immigration. When I get to America, I get to Canada. I mean, you see people writing all kind of stuff online. I just smile. I regret coming to Canada. I regret this and that. I said, no. I mean, you cannot just get into a country and expect to just enter into the system and begin to make money like that. Because some of our people who have lived abroad for many years, they go back to Africa and they begin to deceive young people. They spend money lavishly. They buy houses. So the younger ones are looking at them and say, wow, Uncle James is now rich. He's in America. What Uncle James is doing, you don't know. Many of them are into all manners of things, but they won't tell you that. So be flexible, be ready to go to school if necessary. Make sure you are in the right company. Make sure you make a lot of research before you travel. Find the right company. That one is a very major one. Once you land in a different country from yours, the first people that you meet will shape your destiny in that land. I tell people, they may lead you astray or they may lead you in the right path. So this is a very broad subject because immigration is huge. And I'm always available to actually answer any other personal question that refers to specific needs of our audience.
All right. So, Mr. Ayo, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your time. But it's been very amazing. But I'll tell you, it
I
seems
thought
like
we
we
had,
still
I
we
thought
still
we had
gonna
many questions. Can we
have.
take one more question just for 2 minutes if there's any question?
Okay.
Just one more.
Okay. So let's go through the crowd and then see the audience, and then let's see what we have. All right. All right. Okay. So, um, so someone says, um, how do you deal with, which I think we've talked about, but the person is asking that how do you build challenges, and then from how do you deal with challenges and later become a champion?
Mm. I think we've addressed it, and you
Yes.
must be ready to. Now, number one is this: challenges will always come. So when it comes, it shouldn't take you by surprise. The concept of risk management also helps. So there are some challenges that people actually push themselves into. You are going to America, and then you travel to America with a visitor's visa. So when you land in America, how will you survive? As a visitor, you are only allowed to come into the country, spend your money, and then go back home. Now you now want to settle down. You want to get a job. You can't get a job because you don't have a working visa. You want to use the medical services, healthcare services, you can't use it because you don't have, and you're not in their database. So be careful, first and foremost, be careful not to push yourself into challenges that are avoidable. Now, for the ones that are not avoidable, you have to address them head on. You must not turn your back. Many of us, the challenges we refuse to conquer today, we leave them for our children to come and face tomorrow, which is a problem that a lot of people in Africa have. Many parents in Africa, they dodge some challenges. Years later, the children will have to fight those things: poverty, limitation. And I've had people tell me as a pastor, this is the same thing my parents fought. This is the same thing they didn't. If you conquer those challenges today and you build a platform of prosperity, of success, your children will most likely pass through the same trajectory. So don't turn your back at challenges. Please solve that problem. Solve it with prayer, solve it with tenacity. Make sure you find yourself in the midst of right friends. One of the things that God gave me very early in life was the gift of right people. Right people. When you're about to make mistake, they give you right counsel. It's a gift. If you have a very good friend, please treasure them. Treasure them, manage them very well. Don't just shut down relationship because of offense. Oh, she didn't reply my message, and then you shut the person down. Tomorrow, you don't know what that person will do to help you out of that challenge. From the day we are born to the day we're going to die, challenges will never end. It's just different in terms of scale and scope. What is somebody else's challenge is my own victory. What is my own victory is someone else's challenge. So that's how life is structured. But if you keep at it and you keep pushing through, no challenges is strong enough to overcome a resolute man and a resolute woman who is committed to solving that problem. No matter what, it will be solved.
Wow. Wow. I told you. You just came to like just knock it all. Knock it
Thank you
all.
so much.
Knock it out. Thank you so much. Honestly, it's been an amazing time with you. There's so much that I've learned from you. I'll be honest with you. You are doing wonderful things, honestly. So just keep doing it. And thank you so much for coming to inspire us, for
Thank you so much.
educating us in one way or the other today. Thank you very, very much. And then to everyone who is watching, you know, I want to say a very big thank you for your dedication, for your time on being on the speaker show. I want to say thank you to you guys. So, Mr. Ayo, thank you so much once again. And then, I'm sure our people would like to see you again. So please open your calendar for us for next
I'm
time.
so grateful. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a great thing to be available and to be invited to speak to our friends around the world. And I take this moment very, very, very importantly. I don't take it for granted. If an opportunity like this arises again in future, very, very well, I will be glad to be a
Thank
part
you.
of it. Thank you
Thank
so much, my sister, for what you're doing. You're doing a great job, and you're
you.
contributing to the development of our society. And you're doing a great job. I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad that your voice is reaching out to a lot of people. And this
Thank
is not going to be the end. This platform is going to grow, and then we have many more opportunities to reach millions of people across the globe.
Thank you. Thank you. That's coming from the one and holy pastor. Ayo.
God be the glory.
Thank you so
Much.
much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And then to everyone, like I said to you guys, you guys is gonna be amazing. So I'm sure you guys have enjoyed the juice. So I'm gonna tell you, next week is gonna be phenomenal. Next week is gonna be phenomenal. But Mr. Yo, before we go, please, where exactly is the location of your church? Because I have many people here who are asking for that information. So I don't know if you can quickly drop that for us, or maybe you want to send it to me, or you can tell us exactly where it is. So,
Oh,
I'm sure we
oh,
have people who would like to to visit your church sometimes and then be blessed by your
oh,
ministry.
yeah, we are in Oakville in Ontario.
Okay.
So I will send the address to you. Um, I will send it to you. Or I can type it here. If
No, send it to me will
send
be
to you,
better
yeah,
so we can
I will
have
send
it
it to
on
you.
there.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes.
yes, yes.
So we're in
So
Oakville, and if there is any specific inquiry that anyone wants to make, peradventure they want to talk to me about anything, they can always reach out. My PA will be there to get me the information. I will respond to it. I'm
okay,
very, very approachable, and I don't like building barriers and walls. And so feel free to ask me questions. Anything you want to check, just tell me, and you can come to my inbox, and then my PA will get it across to me, and I will
thank
respond to you
Thank you.
free of
Thank you.
charge.
Thank you. Thank you. I like the one at the back. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayo. Thank you so much. Thank you.
God
Thank
bless you. Thank you
you.
so much
I
for
don't
the
know why I keep
opportunity.
calling you Mr. Ayo instead of Dr. Hayo, but don't worry. Everything it's all the same. You're still the
Same thing.
same man. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Have
So
a
like
great evening. Sorry.
thank you so much. No, no, no. It's fine.
All
Thank
right.
you.
See you
Thank you.
again.
Yes. So to everyone, I just want to say a very big thank you to you guys. So next week is going to be amazing. We have an immigration. We's coming in. So we's going to be giving you guys all the juice all the way from Nigeria. So I want to say you guys look out for that. It's going to be a phenomenal time. If you're looking to get into immigration, if you're looking to travel from Canada to from Nigeria to Canada, that will be a very wonderful section. Or if you know anyone, or like when you came, like this is going to be very, very informative. So please tune in. I'm looking forward to see you guys. Thank you very much. I remain your host, Niniola Fatai, and I'll see you next week.